Look after yourselves, boys. As soon as this heals, I'll be right behind you. And then we will seize our destiny. Together.
Every single week, I'll be chronicling my first time playing through Xenoblade Chronicles Trilogy on Switch 2 in anticipation for Xenoblade Genesis. This is part 1 of my journey through the first Xenoblade Chronicles. I'll be talking about my experience from the beginning of the game to unlocking the Changing the Future mechanic after the spider fight. Immediately as I started the game, I was stunned at how impressive many of the characters were. Dunban's cocky smile as he is excited to fight the Mechons gave me this sense of what kind of character he really is. Even seeing the commander's expressions on Colony 9, from the way he animates as he is frequently pulling soldiers towards himself, it establishes a very dominating character through animations alone. We hardly had an opportunity to see a lot of him, but every scene he was in, I greatly enjoyed it because of just how expressive his animations were. Also, the character designs are incredible. Everyone has memorable designs. Even when I'm giving them different outfits from their originals, you can still tell them apart because of their body type, their hair, their height for each of these characters. I won't ever be confused between who is Shulk and who is Reyn. From my understanding, these characters look drastically different from their original Wii counterparts, but I have never seen a remaster look as good as this one. It feels like they replaced the models rather than just improving the game's textures. The gameplay is so much fun, even at this early stage of the game. Shulk has a lot of positional moves, including moves that are meant to break an enemy. Reyn has aggro and an area of effect abilities that make sure that he is grabbing the attention of all the enemies. Reyn also has this really cool topple ability, which when he used while an enemy is in break, it flips the enemy over for a certain amount of time, allowing the players to get free hits. This is just such a cool way of utilizing your team's abilities together. Unfortunately, it is a bit frustrating since I can only control the leader of the party, so I'm constantly hoping that the AI will use the topple ability while I have triggered the break debuff on an enemy, which is required for fighting Mechonis. Towards the end of my session, I did unlock the Changing the Future mechanic, which is super cool, but it's also a bit annoying to have the game pause for several seconds to show me a full attack animation in slow motion. However, those nitpicks aside, I have been losing myself in this game. I love fighting everything in my way, the quests are simple enough to encourage me to fight even more, and I love that many of the collection style quests could be completed before even accepting those quests because those items are already found throughout the world and from monsters. The world itself is also incredible. I have only been to Colony 9 and the Tephra Cave, but being able to explore these massive areas, finding these cool bits of treasure along the way, or even coming across these unique monster spawns is exciting. I have a goal of mine to just fight every single unique monster spawn that I see. There was this crazy looking bird I found on Anti-Artillery 3, but I was nowhere near a level where I could fight that thing, so I'm definitely coming back to it once I'm at a high enough level. The NPC and monsters are all on a time schedule, which I absolutely love. I enjoy no matter how simple it is that characters feel like they are living in this world. Having characters only show up during the evening or shopping in the mornings really adds this realism to the world. Even if it means it adds so much more difficulty when you're trying to return to an NPC quest or finding a monster, but I love that they're all on schedules. As I was playing through the game, I noticed that there were meeting points I was unable to interact with, so I assumed that Dunban would eventually join my party, but to my surprise, when the attack on Colony 9 occurred, Dunban joined the party and I was hooting and hollering. I was so happy. It is unfortunate that the game didn't allow me to interact with the meeting points yet, so I'm unsure if I'm still missing a character. Also, Dunban left the party as Shulk and Reyn headed to Colony 6, but I'm excited to see Dunban again. Also, I love that the entire time I was playing this game, I was so confused as to why Fiora and Reyn were getting all the weapon drops. I was telling myself that I might have just been unlucky, and then once I got the Monado, I was like, oh, Shulk can only wield the Monado. I know that Shulk would get the Monado because, I played Super Smash Brothers, but I didn't know how that would work in a game where you're constantly upgrading your equipment, and then to see Shulk can only equip the Monado, it made sense. Now, on to the incredible story. I love the setup of the Mechonis versus the Bionis and how all of these characters are all living on top of this giant mech. It is just such a cool way to explore new areas for this game, to point out like, hey, you're on this part of the Bionis. It's just such a cool moment. The mystery of the Monado is also very fascinating. Dunban used it to help fight against the Mechons, but I love that Dixon and Shulk are learning there's something like far more powerful that we haven't unlocked in the Monado yet. Seeing the flashback of the Monado expedition activating this bright blue light shining from this shrine, and all of them dying except for Shulk is crazy. And this expedition must have some sort of ties to the origins of this blade. I also enjoyed the Star Wars aspects of blue lights of the Bionis versus the red lights of the Mechonis. Something that had me hollering on my couch was the attack on Colony 9. I never expected this to occur. And seeing the bright, clear skies of Colony 9 turn into this cloudy, dark haze with embers flickering through the sky, it filled me with so much depression. Having the Mechons being so difficult to fight, really adding this sense of intensity to the situation, especially when Ryan refused to use the topple ability. However, the most shocking moment of this entire playthrough so far is Fiora's death. I could not believe this actually happened. I was upgrading her, changing her outfits, giving her better equipment, going to meeting points, and raising my affinity with her. The game did such a clever job at using Dunban as, oh, Dunban's the one who's going to die here kind of character. So constantly I'm thinking, oh, is he going to die now? Is he going to die later? Like, when is he going to die? But then to flip that, to actually have Fiora being the one who's died is remarkable. Such awesome storytelling. And her death scene is so gruesome because not only do we see it twice, the first time through Shulk's ability, and the second time as he is unable to change the future. It's depressing. But what really makes this moment stand out for me is while Shulk is grieving the loss of Fiora, which when we saw the flashback, it was cool that the characters were wearing the outfits I chose at the time of that meeting point. It really added so much more weight knowing that the game paid attention to the outfit choices throughout my first time playing the game. It felt like, yeah, I remember that moment because it was my moment with Fiora, not just the game showing me this moment, right? Either way, as Shulk is grieving Fiora, the music begins to get more hopeful as Shulk gains that courage and his resolve to destroying the Mechons. It's such an awesome moment in the game that just had me excited to play more. And that's it for part 1 of my journey through the first Xenoblade Chronicles. At the time you're watching this, I have already recorded several parts of this series to keep a consistent weekly schedule, avoiding any spoilers, and hopefully the timing is close enough to once Xenoblade Chronicles 2 releases, I can still continue that weekly schedule. Feel free to subscribe if you want to hear more about Xenoblade, Genshin, and manga in general. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye now!